Alright guys, and we are back. So now we're going to talk about paper clips and how we can use paper clips to measure. So I want you to take a look at my ship. And if you notice down here, I have big paper clips and small paper clips. I want you to think about, will this ship take the same amount of paper clips? Why or why not? So would it take the same amount of big paper clips and small paper clips to measure? So if you said no, you are correct. It will not take the same amount of paper clips, and I'm about to show you why. So let's measure and let's figure out why together. So first, I'm going to use my big paper clips and I'm going to line them up with my endpoint. So this is one of the good reasons why you should draw endpoints, because if you look at my ship, it's not in a straight line. So when I have endpoints, it's easier for me to measure. So notice how my paper clips have no gaps or overlaps. They're right next to each other. So it takes about 3 big paper clips, and I'm going to count the third one even though a little bit of it is left out. I'm counting the third one because it's at least using half of the paper clip. Half of it is inside of my endpoints. So if your object uses at least half of your measuring tool or more, then count it. Now let's measure using small paper clips. I'm going to put them right next to each other, no gaps or overlaps, and let's see if we have the same amount of paper clips. So it uses 5 small paper clips. So there are 3 big paper clips and 5 small ones. And why do you think that is? Why do you think there are more small paper clips than big paper clips? Well, I can tell you why. There are more small paper clips because they're smaller. So there is room for more of the small paper clips than the big ones. Just like our ruler, there's more room on our ruler for centimeters because centimeters are smaller. So the smaller your measuring object is, the more you will have. So now let's get into actually measuring an item with paper clips. So it says, let's try measuring with paper clips. So I'm going to take my paper clips over here and I'm going to measure my Lego with it. Now, because my Lego is basically a rectangle, it will be easy for me to measure without endpoints. So 3 and 4. So my Lego is about 4 paper clips. And again, I'm going to count that 4th paper clip, even though there's some off of it, because my Lego is at least using half of this paper clip. So now I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure it. If you look at this ruler, it has a 0. And the 0 does not start at the beginning of the ruler. So I'm going to line my object up with 0, not the beginning of the ruler. So my Lego is it's in between 9 and 10, and it's closer to 10. So I'm going to say that my Lego is 10 centimeters. Now, think about this question. Did it take more paper clips or more centimeters? Why or why not? So if you think about the ship question, it takes more centimeters because centimeters are smaller than paper clips. If I measure a paper clip, it's about 3 centimeters itself. So there are more centimeters because they are smaller. The smaller your object is, the more you will have. Let's try another one. Now this time, we are going to try measuring with just 1 paper clip. And how do you think I can measure with 1 paper clip? How do you think I can do that? Well, I'm going to show you. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of these paper clips and I'm going to line it up with my endpoint. Then I'm going to mark where that paper clip ends. So I'm going to mark it right here. Now I'm going to move it and I'm going to line it up with my mark. And I'm going to mark it again. And I'm going to keep doing that until I get to my endpoint. This is called the mark and move strategy because I mark and I move. mark, and move. Now, I'm not going to mark it again because there's only like a tiny bit of space left, so I'm done. So I use the mark and move strategy to measure my straw with one paper clip. So now let's count how many paper clips we used. So one space is 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm not going to count this little space because it's tiny. It's not even half of the paper clip. So I used 4 paper clips. Well, I technically used 1, but with the mark and move strategy, I can tell that my straw is about 4 paper clips. So if you only have one object, you can use the mark and move strategy. All right, now we are going to get into measuring items with paper clips and with centimeters. And we're going to be comparing centimeters and paper clips and also comparing objects. But make sure you answer the questions below before you move on. See you in a bit.